What's going on, guys? It's Dylan here. Today we'll be going over a ticker symbol analysis on the ticker symbol PLTR, Palantir Technologies. We have potentially seen that breakout to the upside, guys. Seen that nice big green wide bar on the daily time frame breaking out of that range. We have been keeping close eye on over the last few weeks, guys. Potentially setting up for a multi-week run. We will remain unbiased, though, going through multiple different time frames, running through various different technical analysis techniques on the Palantir weekly time frame. We do see a very, very bullish, interesting confirmation, which we did point out in last week's update, being these ascending wicks pushing into the most important resistance level that Palantir does have in the weekly time frame. Guys, when we look all the way past here, here's when we've seen liquidity pumped into the market. Previous to this extent, we had a lot of dry, thin candles, not a lot of volume, until buyers shoved market all the way up with 2 weeks of zero pullbacks at all, complete liquidity, showing that there is a lot of serious buyers in this market. Since then, guys, we got that consolidation, teasing out these levels, being very calm before breaking out, going parabolic, and that's where stock price is currently at today, right? So to see stock effectively, run up all the way from these lows to highs 200% before being yanked down. A very, very rough retracement, guys. A big bearish engulfing, pushing down back into these lows on the daily, around a 45, 47% retracement, guys. That lets you know this is the boogeyman for resistance levels on the Palantir weekly time frame. In the last video, guys, we mentioned how stock is really just holding at this level for a long, long time, right? If there's any spot where we should get shoved down, it's here, right? But we haven't seen that. We've seen continual wicks press up into this level, buyers continuing to step up in higher and higher price ranges, even though we're moving into a very quote unquote dangerous zone and not good risk to reward for these buyers. As traders and long-term investors, typically more traders, want to optimize their buy-ins to match the risk to reward to their preferable method of choice. So with that being said, guys, definitely seeing liquidity in the market once again. And that's just clear right away, guys, is besides these 1-2 week pullbacks all the way yanked down, this whole phase has just been a lot of liquidity in the market. When stock price is kind of dragging down, it's more or less consolidating. 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 Super simple, guys. But when we see these rips up, it's these massive rips up, incredible liquidity, full body bars, zero wicks, just a lot of nice movement, guys. So definitely feeling the weekly. This looks picture perfect, looks very, very nice. And especially it's nice to see a fake breakout into a real breakout, right? As we've seen these highs over here met for 1-2 weeks of consolidation before we briefly got over these highs, looking like we're going to push up, right? All the signs are pointing in that direction. 1-2 week pause, push over on a negative candle, kind of a fake out for the sellers here, and we push up. Well, that didn't happen. But to see buyers, we mentioned in the last video, be so disciplined at these highs, despite that happening, it really just makes you think, when is the move going to be? Because we know the move's going to be powerful. And I believe we are starting to see the beginning of that. And more or less, it is breaking out of this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 week consolidation. So definitely feel good on the weekly, guys. Better than we have been in a while. So, with that being said, obviously the trend is going up, guys. Have to be bullish on the weekly. We're reapproaching and breaking out of these highs. So that being said, guys, go flip over to the daily 4-month bull flag breakout on the daily time frame. And this one is a little bit nuanced, guys. It is very cool to break down as we don't see these structures a lot. Starting all the way back in around mid-February, where price did get swept at these highs around that key resistance level we mentioned on the weekly, being at 125, 126 zone. Stock price curled all the way down, being very, very nasty before buyers step back in, shove the stock all the way up, forming that cup-like formation, revisiting these highs, having a very symmetrical, beautiful cup, right? And then going sideways, being these touch points here, going sideways with the handle. And at this handle, guys, if we see the upside, within that range, we're breaking over these highs, and all these buyers who are waiting on this pullback to re-enter the position, right? They're waiting for the top to break, and that's why we've seen this massive liquidity movement, right? And any sellers in the market, of course, got out. Something to be noted as well is that when we see price approach these highs and gap down, guys, right when we started to see price curl back up and be strong, I immediately threw Palantir on my watch list as, when you see these nasty signs, a little bit of overextension, but they're not able to capitalize even for a couple of days of bleeding off this gap down. It just shows the strength. So we're seeing a lot of strength in the daily time frame, and what we're currently at now is the breakout. We broke out from the zone, holding the neckline phase before breaking down from that, but more or less just pulling back in this very, very tight range. And if you've been following the Palantir video, guys, you know this very well. But it's important we run through this, as this is the daily structure we're currently working with. And we're really in this, 2 week consolidation, getting very, very tight, guys, reapproaching this ascending trend line. We mentioned in the video we had to make a movement. If we break this $120 level, which we ended up holding, then at that point we're breaking this confluent zone. We're likely to drop to 115. But if we can get out of this ascending trend line we mentioned above that 126, you'd see a very, very violent move as buyers have continued to be disciplined and step up in these areas they quote unquote shouldn't. So now we were seeing the breakout, guys. In this breakout, yes, it did appear that the breakout started over here. So once again, I really want to preface, to see this fake breakout, but then be so disciplined and break out again, it just makes you even more bullish. As this whole phase over here, guys, is really just energy building within the market. Sellers are exiting their positions, buyers are accumulating. Just a lot of nice psychology, guys. And the last thing we really want to touch upon, right, on the daily time frame, is that when we look at these candle structures, the sellers were in control slightly over these last few weeks, shoving the stock price down. But you see within the last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 days of price action was completely negated. All this drip by one day of buyers stepping up, shoved the price all the way to the highs with zero drops, showing that there's a lot of buying pressure who are serious about getting up. And when we see these big liquidity, jumps, guys, this is what you want to see at a Palantir. Out of these strong stocks, when we see this liquidity pump in, this is typically a sign where more is to come. So definitely on the daily time frame, right, wouldn't shock me if, maybe we have a hammer candle with some S similar to this, or some sort of consolidation after this big rip up. But guys, looking out over the next couple of days definitely feels, there's incredible chance for the stock price to continue to surge. This is definitely the beginning of the movement, guys, and to see that volume confirmation really backs that. You follow the channel, we remain as neutral as possible, guys, but really are seeing every single bullish sign we want to see. Anything trading above that now 126.33 zone, guys, we've been keeping a close eye on, or that 126.50, that rough range. Anything over the neckline of this cup and handle pattern, guys, is very, very bullish. If stock price does yank down, keep an eye on this. This could be an incredible re-entry. Very low risk reward. But yeah, as of now, guys, we are seeing a late breakout to this cup and handle. And if we get a price target for that from the bottom all the way to the top, right? And then we get a 50% retracement. So that'd be around that 32.5% retracement. And we'll put that to the top to get an actionable price target. We do feel $150 is a very, very reasonable price target, and that's one we have had on the channel over the last few weeks, guys. With that being said, keep an eye on, $140 is really the next resistance zone we're looking at. For our support, we went over that being that 126.50 zone. Really nice signs, guys. We remain unbiased, but stock looks beautiful here. Gotta, give credit where credit's due. Palantir looks very strong in the daily time frame. So on the hourly time frame, the number one thing we really want to preface, guys, super, super simple, right? But anything above this 126.50 zone, that rough range, the neckline of this daily, right, cup and handle pattern of this, boogeyman weekly resistance zone, stock price is winning, man. It really is. So looking at the hourly, we did see the breakout of this range. We were watching very closely on the channel over the past few weeks. Just jumping in this range, we don't really have to think much within these spots. There's a lot of support, resistance, the neckline area being here. We have this 120 major support we're watching, but more or less we're just trading between, bouncing between sellers at the top, buyers at the bottom, bouncing between until eventually we did see the break of this trend line being this very big bar. Once again, guys, going back to our other point, a big bar of liquidity, right? This huge bar of liquidity. This lets you know that this kind of move. We haven't seen that in this range. In the breakout within this range, it's almost impossible we fake breakout, right? We actually did end up coming down, funny enough, and rebouncing off that zone, which is even better, guys, because now, it's pulled back a little bit. He's got new buyers in these markets. And any sellers that wanted to make a, quick buck off this mean reversion short, right? They're likely out of their positions, seeing that close over 130.65. So as of now, in the after hours, stock is down 1.18%. Really not too worried about it. I think it's fine, right? And that does lead to the last thing we really want to mention, guys. We're going to briefly touch upon NASDAQ QQQ, as this is important to Palantir. If we see a very nasty retracement or rejection from QQQ, this could directly affect Palantir. So as of now, the overall market is looking strong, right? As far as the long-term perspective, stock is moving up. We're strong, right? But we can't ignore the elephant in the room, guys. We are up, right, 30% in stock price in 1 month, which is extremely extended for the Qs. We did have these highs over here, which is such a major level, guys, pushing into this major gap up zone with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 green candles in a row, forming this very key level before filming another touch point, rejecting, coming down, filming that, forming that higher low, which we did expect. We did call out in last video. And we got that price action to come, guys. All is good here. It's looking good in the hood. We're squeezing these shorts that wanted to make a buck off this drop here. Push right back in these highs with a nice big green bar, and then overnight we did see Nvidia earnings. Right, when we see Nvidia earnings, it moved the overall market over these highs, well over the highs in after hours before collapsing that on the hourly. When we see on the hourly, guys, it was a nasty rejection. So this is a fake breakout 101, and to see stock price knife down before coming right back up in this rough zone, you definitely got to wonder coming into the next week, are we setting up for that move down, guys? Because it would be the best case scenario, even for the bulls here, arguably if we did pull back, right? As we're up 30% within the last month, very extended. So I want to bring that to your guys' attention, as if the overall market has a rough correction, right, pulls back, has that nasty retracement, it could have a direct effect on Palantir. Could not, though. At the same time, Palantir stock is looking incredibly strong, and it has a lot of liquidity, a lot of new buyers, so it might not matter, but it is something I figured worth touching upon. With that being said, guys, keep an eye on these major levels. The next key resistance level that we're sitting upon is that 130.65 level. Keep an eye on that as far as a short-term support. Once we did break out of this flag before and give that false breakout for a few days, we based out at that day for 1, 2, 3, and 4 days. So keep an eye on that rough zone. If stock can hold over that, preferably, that would be good, but it wouldn't be the worst case scenario if maybe stock, drop below it for a day. Not the biggest resistance. We just set this massive bar. So you see 1 day of consolidation wouldn't be mind-blowing, to say the least. But then again, like some follow through wouldn't surprise me at all. Something like this. We have seen in the past, we have a very big wide bar. We could have multiple days to come, like we did over here, right over here, but we didn't here. So with that being said, guys, if you enjoyed the video, like, subscribe, all that. Keep an eye on that 126.50 neckline. That being said, peace.